Some seeking adventure, some bound in chains, through battles waged and fought, through victory and pain, by test of their courage, our freedom was gained. In homage to those gone before us, the heroes of lands in the sun, we vow to join hands and to focus on building one Caribbean. Raise your voices high, sing of your Caribbean pride, sing it loud and strong.
Welcome brothers, welcome sisters, welcome to our program On Target. And as usual, as soon as we start this program, you are welcome to pick up your telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything: politics, religion, socio-economic issues, any topical issue trending. In Grenada today, the politics right. It's about 48 hours more to go, and both sides sounding very confident. The NDC believe they will win 15 seats. The NNP thinks they will win 15 seats. But the NNP say they will not be complacent. So over the next 48 hours, by 6 o'clock on Wednesday morning, all polling stations in Grenada will be open and people will start to cast their vote. I expect the morning session in the polling stations will be tough, because everybody seems to be encouraging their supporters to vote early. You have some people that vote late anyway. But that is the catch here. And both parties perhaps mopping up. I don't know if anybody will call me and tell me where they have their meeting. We accept that. This is politics time. But you're open to say anything. And you can also introduce new topics on our program. I'm a little bit disappointed. The two political parties' manifesto is late. Well, for the NNP, because they were in power for 2 terms, one could say it's a continuation of their policies. But the NDC manifesto should be earlier. It should be earlier. Particularly because the NDC claim this is a new NDC. That the old NDC is no more. That the old guards has been silent to some extent. And those who running the show now is brand new. All of them is practically new to Parliament. I don't think any member who is presently running as a candidate for the National Democratic Congress has ever sat in Parliament to debate. So they're brand new. And because the old guards, they seems to sideline. And because of the fact that they said it's a new NDC, the manifesto should be a week or 2 early. You see, when you have a new entity, you're doing a disadvantage to the public. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yeah, one experience around that. He was a senator. So, yeah, one. But at least, they was condemning, they are saying, oh, Carriacou people, I see a video with Carriacou, with Dr. Michel and Deputy Matnik, and I see them lobby receive from the people. Everybody want a hug and a picture from him. And I was amazed that station in Carriacou that is around the sitting. I thought well, maybe all the people in Petit Matnik were just stuck. Like all the people, Petit Matnik people against you. But I see them love the show Dr. Michel. I feel so happy for that. Yeah. And I was saying here, said NEC family saying, look, NMP just using OBR, using all kind of things. And I was amazed to see NEC reach to that because the first thing they do, they try to invoke a dead spirit. That the first thing, I don't know how the style that has. And the next thing, in Tivoli, that area there, see they have a woman dancing like a Shango person and she set up on a normal basis, set up normal about herself and then just about herself just jump straight into the chill and where you have altar and all the I don't find that makes sense. We have to NEC guy with the body shop with all the child and they disappointed NEC for that. They don't like that at all. They say nah that they go too low. Because they was exposed, you know, they was exposed and that they were like say they don't like what they do. They were like that at all. If you go you can't give one out chat there but going as far as reaching there that don't qualify in green politics. Because you condemn the other party for saying Obi and any yourself reach to that to win because that is not evidence to see that you're losing ground. I really and the campaign failure and I want to congratulate the NMP for putting on the best campaign for all the time of following politics. I can tell you that the best campaign as you got it. NMP hit all the trenches, house to house. They at air, land and sea, they bombard. That's the best I ever see they ever put on. And they will get good results because this and they got I find that I have friends who salesmen and I find it on the ground. So far they have get good results. So take him up and have a nice.
Yes, the NNP are claiming they're confident, but they don't want to be complacent because election is only one on the day. Both sides can bring about large crowds. NDC had about 20,000 people voted for them in the last election, 20 plus, and NNP had 30 plus. So it means both sides can bring out 10, 12,000 people. I don't think none of the crowds past 10, 12,000 people. But this incident you speak about is unfortunate, and I need to have more information before I speak about it. But definitely I'm going to speak about it after election. But it's a sad incident that will go down in history, in our politics and in our election history. And I always felt that this is one of the challenges you have in a society when you sideline the elders. The elders must be an integral part of your society. I think somewhere in Africa they have a proverb about what a village without elders is a dying village. You cannot dilute the significance of your elders in society. You will make unimaginable mistakes that you should not make. You cannot silence the voice of your elders. And perhaps you already see that policy is bringing about negative consequences. That is why I felt it is important that the National Democratic Congress should have already have the manifesto outside. It's important because they claim they have a new party and they decide to silence the elders and dilute the significance of the old guard. So it is imperative, it is important, particularly when every member of your candidates, except one, do not have experience with the parliament. You're going to make simple blunders. And you don't need that in the first year of your performance if you win election. It has happened before. It could leave a bad taste and it could cause conflict. Because your group have not been around long enough, your socialization factor is not compact. And when it is stressed, you could have tear points, breaking points, fracture points very early over molehills. Now, when you see a party's philosophy, and I am concerned about it because in Grenada here, you have heard significant attacks on people who fall in the lower echelons of society. You hear statements like greedy and needy. Caller on the line, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, last night in St. John Northwest, we have a wonderful meeting. A meeting that a village meeting was it turned out to be a mini rally. All right, where your defense speaker speak and the parliamentary rep outline the
Who are
plans
the two
and
people
for
in
the
St.
further
John
for
Northwest?
the further St. John Northwest,
Yeah.
Dr. Kit Mitchell, parliamentary candidate for St. John Northwest. He was there last night speaking and outlining the plans for further development of St. John Northwest and the country at whole. And it was a wonderful meeting. Information was given out, and I do believe people that were there, they take the information, and I know they will bring it back to those that were absent at that meeting. And Mr. Pay, I want to say something, eh? And I always believe in a blend. And then when you have the young people trying to move away from the seniors, what if it happen? When one young person say yes, do that, the other go say he agreed. But when you have a senior person that go through the train tool, go through the tearing, and young people plan to do something, they go advise young people don't go along that road. Right? And I remember Mr. Nazenbach said they are trying to get the young people of NDC to come together, let us work together. And they were always against the older heads of the people that was there in the beginning. And I always say, you try and try more many times, and you'll be successful. And you have to keep the older heads of the party there. You have to keep them there so that they could groom the young ones and group them so that they could be matured in life. They might be mature as politicians, as ministers, but they have to groom them for whenever they reach there, they know what to do and they know what not to do. But when you're trying to get rid of all the senior NDC people that was there and bringing young, fresh people, no one could help. And I always said, see, and I continue to see, if you have to give a cricket and you have two batsmen opening, two of them they don't have experience. One making mistake on the other end. There is nothing the other batsman on the other end could tell you because two of them at the same level. But if you have an experienced man, a man that know cricket, country playing cricket, he could groom the other one on the end, the younger one, and tell him what to do. Take your time, relax yourself, you're young. I thought that was the important when you have men that experience. But when you have young people there alone, no one could help one another. As you said, like if you send out a private and no commandant chief to fight a war, who leading army? Everybody go get advice and say do that. Right? And they're confusing also, but the most of a leader that is tried, tested, and delivered. And when you look at the NMP candidate and the NMP party, you have men there, they try, you have a blend. The young people, they're groomed by experience once in within the NMP party, and when now they have the commission to leave. He could he know for sure he leave the party in safe hands. There are men that are capable, women that are capable to lead the party, to lead the party.
Yeah.
And because you have a united party, a party that try, tested and delivered and continue to deliver. And that's why it comes to June 23rd. There is something coming. They will be successful at the poll because the people know them and they know the people. In COVID, there was encouraging people to go and take the vaccine to protect themselves and the family. In difficult times, Ivan, Emily, they was there. Many other trying difficulties come. They was there encouraging people. And these people are going to carry on Peter Martinic. They did well to protect themselves. Yes, we lost about 200 and some people within COVID. But the other countries in the world, they could take an example of this government, of the way they manage the COVID pandemic.
Yes,
So,
thank you,
Mr. Pay,
Colin.
have a blessing.
Yes, thank you, Colin. One cannot help admiring the indomitable spirit of the Prime Minister. Whether you like him or not is not the issue. He's the most successful political leader in Grenada and in the Commonwealth. And I guess Simply because the issue of age has been made as such a big issue, one have to look at the fitness of the individual. And I think sometimes he pushes himself too much. But one must appreciate and admire the indomitable spirit of the Prime Minister. And I said before, not because it's politics, but the Ministry of Social Affairs should use his mother as a catalyst, as a motivator, as a template to encourage aging people in Grenada to age healthily. Too much of our people going to funeral and waiting to die. They must learn to be healthier, to eat right, to lose some weight, to be more fit. And both the Prime Minister and his mother, the Ministry of Social Affairs, because again the politics, we ignore this gift. It is a gift. If you have a woman 99 years on a stage and could take on the hours, then it's a gift to serve as a motivator for other people in this country. I hope after election that the Ministry of Social Affairs, because too much of our people are going to funeral and waiting to die. We have some people 50 years, and now we seem to have an issue with age. We have to be careful with that. I hope when Thursday comes, we could manage this issue, because you will drive old people in a corner. While you're doing it for political purpose, it has rippling effect in the society. Already you see a political party decide we don't want the old guards. The fact that you use old is an age issue. On the ground, you hear people saying old people are employed. And some people are saying that they're not very young, you know. They say old people are employed. It appears that there's some concerted effort to drive old people in a corner. Sometimes I am so disappointed in our social scientists and our psychologists, because years now they should be on that issue, warning people about it. You know, the number to call is 442-0175, and we are coming on Boss FM and CRFM on Facebook, on my Facebook page, and Real FM. So you have an opportunity to listen to us and give us a call, you know. And if you have your posts on Facebook, we will try to read it out. As I said, I don't know what are the activities that the political parties have today for the next 48 hours. We still should have the voices that asking people to keep calm. In the last minute, you could have very heated and infectious exchanges. But we must ask people to tone down. Even the politicians, now it's time you're mopping up. You're doing surgical campaigning. Try to cool down your temper so you don't have much anger. You know, we have to encourage our brothers and sisters. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Yes, afternoon. There's an attack on our democracy and our sovereignty. I can't understand these blind-eyed people at all. Just because somebody come and they show them some money or they promise them some money, everybody gonna leave what is right and go after that, and then it's no money at all. They're just fooling them people. Now, the Anglican Church, the church from England, have been painted yellow. Yellow, you know what yellow means.
Right? What you say?
Huh?
The Anglican Church has been painted yellow?
The Anglican Church wall have been painted yellow recently.
Which building?
Pardon?
Which church?
The Anglican Church wall in Guelph.
Oh, the church in Guelph?
Have been painted yellow recently.
Okay.
And everybody know what this yellow means. Now the scarlet color, the scarlet or dark red that everybody crave is NDC. No,
Yeah, but Cora, if the church painted the building yellow, they must have some religious reasons for doing it.
yes.
There are sometimes you might see red in a church and it might represent the Holy Spirit. The traditional churches, they put a lot of emphasis on colors. So sometimes you see mauve, you see green, you see white. So if that particular church is painted yellow, we could find out if there is a religious reason or if it is a political reason.
All right. A political reason. Now, Her Majesty the Queen has showed them green, telling them this is the right way to go. Now I'm going back to the scarlet, the dark red that everybody seemed to crave. It was buried in that Anglican churchyard cemetery.
Dark red is like mauve?
It was
Color. Dark red is like mauve. What kind of colors? Dumb.
Yes, the color that everybody crazy now.
Dark red
and
is
Russia
color.
is in that color. So what I'm saying is this NDC they're going behind is trouble. And they already put the dark red on top and the green in the bottom to show electoral fraud. This NDC will
No. Color.
You hear that?
Color. Our electoral process, the integrity of our electoral process is intact. There is no fraud in Grenada electoral process. Our election is free, it is fair, and it is free from fraud.
Nobody could
No, we don't have fraud in our election. It's not fair, it is not right, it is not good. Our election in Grenada is free, it is fair. The whole Caribbean recognized Grenada election as good. The opposition, the NDC, not opposition now, the NDC and the NNP, and whoever else contesting election, they put knowledgeable candidates in the polling station to observe and seek their interests. No political party in Grenada have ever challenged the result of the election from 1984 successfully. And on every occasion, the side that lost conceded defeat within 24 hours. So it means they are confident with the process. The Grenada electoral process is exceptionally good. It is free and it is fair. And the integrity of it is intact. Government has invited foreign observers, the OAS, and I believe the Qatar Foundation. And they are already here in Grenada. On the day of voting, on the 23rd, anytime during the day, OAS and observer people would pop up in the polling station to see everything go good. They would ask questions, perhaps to the different political parties. The candidate that is contesting election can come to the polling station. The only thing he and the candidate, or he or she and the agent must not spend more than 5 minutes there. If the candidate wants to stay, the agent have to walk outside after 5 minutes. Our election is free. As early as 1976, I believe, when Wellington Friday win Winston White by 1 vote, after days checking, still 1 vote. So there is no question. Our election process in Grenada is good. I'm disappointed in our politicians. They must speak about the process more to give ordinary Grenadian confidence in it. Nothing cannot interfere with the process. Ever call on the line? Caller, welcome. Punch.
Yeah, they have a habit of cutting off people's phone, but it's all right. The most important part of the message.
You still live, man. All right, thank you. You're gone now. We didn't cut you off. You're still live. You see, when we on radio program calling show, and people are definitely wrong, sometimes they don't have the information. I think it is important for us to provide the information. I am tired of seeing people run down this country with things that is camouflage truth. They misguide the truth and they spread it like wildfire. Grenada is a nice little country. There are a lot of things we don't get right, and we could speak about it. But there are a lot of things we get right, and one of them is the electoral process in Grenada. Maurice Bishop team had a number of lawyers, but you notice he never challenged the electoral process in the court, because Maurice Bishop knew the election then was free and fair and free from fear. Color, punch.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I find sure listen what the lady's saying, man.
Well, we gave the lady a very long time. Eh? If you notice,
because I was interested of what she's saying to get a result from that.
Yeah, but we gave her a very long time, and she started to attack the church. And I asked her, if the church paint with a color, these churches are very traditional, and they have a lot of rituals, and they paint with a.
She didn't complete what she said.
Well, I gave her a long time.
She statement, you understand? You didn't give her an ending up. I really interested. I was really interested to hear what she had to say. I don't know what she was saying. You don't know, but that is it.
Yes, caller. Thank you. I gave her a long time, and even after I intervened, she was still live on the radio. You see, when we're on a program for 1 hour, we want people, that's why we use the word punch. And if you spend a minute trying to present your case, and we get the drift, and then you remember, we're on a program and you start to attack the church. And you're attacking the church with politics. And all I ask, did you find out why they painted the church in yellow? You might see some church in Grenada painted in red. Some aspect of it is red. If that church is the Holy Spirit, then red would be the color emanating. Because these churches, they have a lot of rituals. And you will see they doing things. So I hope perhaps another time she might raise it again and we could have the discussion on it. Yeah? You see, the electoral system in Grenada for the longest while is good. That is why Maurice Bishop never challenged it in court. In the 1976 election, Bishop felt he had the youths. Gary then dropped the age of voting from 21 to 18. We had the alliance because Maurice Bishop party had to join with GNP, and I don't know if White was in it, to form the alliance to fight Gary. They were convinced that they could not have won Gary if they didn't come together. So GNP and Maurice Bishop joined up and formed the alliance. They won 6 seats. In 1979, after Maurice Bishop overthrew the country, and I always felt the revolution was not necessary, it was not justified, and it was illegal. If Bishop felt there were excesses or irregularities, he should have challenged it in the court. Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, Mr.
Yes, my brother, welcome.
Yesterday you was on top of it, man. You hit it heavy. Today, I want to support you again, to some extent. Now, a manifesto, in my opinion, it's a working document that tells the citizens what a political party intends to do within a 5-year span. And a budget is telling you the amount of money and money that you can spend within a 1-year span of every year, 45 years. Because every year your budget figures will change. So I agree with you that a team coming in, almost relatively new,
should have given their budget before. I agree with you that the team inside can give your budget at a later time, whereas we don't mind having it early, but you give it at a later time because you are doing more or less what you call continuation. No team going to be inside and change their manifesto totally. They will be continuing with what was done and what is to be done. So I agree thoroughly there. But it appears that political parties generally come out with manifestos too late, in my opinion. Your manifesto must be a working document. If you bring it out 2 days before election, to me, it doesn't make much of a sense. But I believe that the NDC as a party have not been able to live up to their manifestos. They have good things written in them. I think they mean well. I think they have good teams. They normally get good people with reasonable upstairs to run. But the problem is they cannot stay as a bunch together. And it has happened throughout the years. The first time the NDC formed the government, the leader, which was Mr. Brafitt, said to the team that he only spending 1 term. So he already set the team in a condition of that, okay, I will not be there after the next 5 years. So you start to prepare for a new leader. And from there go, you had struggle. You had Joan Fossil, you had Michael Andrew, you had Dr. Francis Alexis, and every one of them was in a fight. Fighting one another, you had to vote of no confidence, and Mr. Tillman, he had also closed his thing. So the point is, when you tell people about your manifesto, they're not too certain if you're going to gel together, if you could gel together to make that, because now we're hearing that this new leader have different plans and new plans and what he's going to cut back on and what he will think to get the economy going, and he will put away VAT for 1 year and whatnot, right? We have to remember that VAT was one of the lifeline of NDC. NDC was the one that introduced the VAT. And if VAT is the most productive thing now, means of collecting money, and the NDC is telling you now that they could ease up on VAT for 1 year, then it keeps people sort of wondering. So you have to be careful with where we go with those things.
And Color,
yeah.
Color, that is why it is so important that you had a manifesto from this new group.
I agree.
It's so important because of the fundamental changes in policy from that which they call the old guards.
That's right. I totally agree there.
And some of the issues they're speaking about is fundamental because it could have serious repercussion for the tax threshold and the people in the lower socioeconomic strata.
That is why we must be able to hold the teams, NMP, NDC, whoever, hold them to the manifestos.
Well, if they don't get manifesto...
If your manifesto come out 2 days or 1 day before election, it's hard for me to hold you to it. You must be able to hold the team. Give me your story. But I understand that teams, they say, no, if I give you early, the other side go copy what
That is when you don't have confidence in what you have. The National Democratic Congress, they had to have their manifesto early because it's a brand new team that call themselves new, that disassociate themselves from the old guards. So they had fundamental change in the tax policies.
Right.
And a manifesto is a public declaration of policies and aim, especially on issues before an election of a political party and candidate.
And that is why I'm saying that, because we have had two, when Mr. Tillman Thomas, who is a good friend of mine, was in power, on 2 occasions, he said that the economy was not making much sense, it was not moving, and he put a stimulus package, and none of this stimulus package worked. For that matter, he was asking why is it that the feeder road work have not been open, and 2 of his ministers were giving him different ideas.
Yes, because they are not in one. They don't understand their own philosophy. And it's so important for you to understand the philosophy and aims. So it doesn't matter who come, you have this broad philosophy and aims that everybody walk into. But if everybody come bring a piece of philosophy, Then you make it as you go. Yes,
All
thank
right,
you.
sir.
Thank you, caller. Yes, I think it's so important. This is an important issue. I personally very concerned about individuals, politicians interfering with the tax threshold. It has done before. When Mr. Blaze retrenched public officers, he cut social program. George Rizan retrenched. He did not retrench the monthly officers. He retrenched the workers in the lower socio-economic strata. The workers that work in the estates, on Maribor Agriculture Station. And George Rizan cut social program. So it is an important thing. So if you have another government, we have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Afternoon, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations to the police. They have exercised their civic rights, and we all look forward to a positive result. Also, congratulations to all of the nation's children who sat the CPA exam. You are moving on to another step. Those who are successful, to the parents, the teachers, the grandparents, all who have made the ultimate sacrifice to ensure that the children succeed. Congratulations, stick a bow. You have done well. And let us continue to support our children and support the efforts. Mr. Pierre, I also want to acknowledge God and thank Him for the rain. Those of us who have planted in Corpus Christi and continue to plant, we need to do so because, you know, the war in Ukraine is affecting us all here. And there are times when even, you know, food we need to buy from the sales vans, they are scarce. So if we continue to plant food, we can feed ourselves and supply the nation with some of the well-needed food that we can consume locally. Have a blessed day, Mr. Pierre, and look forward to a good week. Thank you.
Yes, sister, thank you very much. And as you speak about the children who will be going to a secondary school, CPA, a lot of schools are jumping up. They're happy. Their children have an opportunity to go to a secondary school. But let us follow these children for 5 years. There are some schools that tell you they send 21 children and all pass. Follow the children in the school, and 5 years after, find out what percentage of these children get maths and English. We have a caller on the line, caller Punch.
Francis, good afternoon.
Yes,
to you,
my
sir.
brother, good to hear your voice.
Yes, sir. Francis, listen, I have worked as an agent in a PD before, and I must agree with you that our election process here is free, it's free, it's fair, it's free, and it's free from fear. I must agree with you with that. But I must say something here this afternoon. Francis, the NDC have the same info the NNP have, the same data the NNP have, and it's very clear to them. It's very clear to the NDC that the NNP will win the next election. That is very clear to them. But Mr. Pierre, I understand that, you know, it's two parties here, and they cannot come out and tell the supporters, well, what? The data that have been collected, you know, on the ground does not favor us. I understand that they would not, you know, it's not in their interest to say that. But it is very clear that the data and the info that has been collected locally on the ground clearly shows that the NNP will win the next election, this election. Now, I must also say, Mr. Pierre, in St. Andrew, we are ready. They don't say we are ready like Freddie. Well, we passed Freddie right now. I have never seen the NNP so organized, so excited, and so enthusiastic about an election. You know, from every single, I'm talking about being organized, Mr. Pierre, from every single thing is in place. And the race that is on now in St. Andrew is to see which NNP candidate will declare first. I must say I'm putting all my eggs in the basket of St. Andrews Northwest. We are not waiting for the voters, for the votes to be counted in St. Andrews Northwest. We are declaring victory when the first 2,000 people vote. That is when we are declaring victory. And I'm saying that from the standpoint, Mr. Pierre, is that when you have a candidate like Minister Delma Thomas, one that who have been tried, tested, and one who have delivered big time to our constituency, we don't have to wait for votes to be counted because we are fully aware and know exactly what is taking place in that constituency, who our supporters are, and then come Thursday, people will see a level of organization that they have never seen before in the history of St. Andrew when it comes to organizing the voters and getting the voters to the polls in a timely manner. They will see a machinery that will cause them to be stumped. Have a pleasant day, sir.
Thank you, Colin. I just want to reinforce the point. Now, education is a very important factor in the life of people, particularly children. If parents do what is correct between 0 and 12 years, no one can stop your child from reaching the heights that they want to reach. Between 0 and 12 years. Now, our children are entering secondary school now. You have to follow your child for the next 5 years. We have a caller on the line. Caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre,
yes.
I especially want to say congratulations to the St. Andrews Methodists for topping this year's CPA. And it only tells us, as people, that even those public schools can do well and excel too. There was one private school that probably, was in the top. But so many times we believe that, it's always the private that can do well. And to the special grandmother, I know that is always making that sacrifice, always being there for this grandson. I just want her to take a bow and be happy. Congratulations again to St. Andrews Methodist.
Caller, you have any idea how much children in... Oh, that caller gone.
In where?
Yeah, you have any idea how much children that goes to Methodist school? I know Methodist, Anglican, and RCA. Right?
Quite a few hundred.
Yeah, because I know Methodist, Anglican, and RC are the three most popular schools in St. Andrews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
You see, I am not satisfied in Grenada that parents are doing enough for the children. Mediocrity must not be the order of the day. And the icing on the cake is not the cake. So now that our children enter school 5 years after, we must be monitoring to make certain that the majority of our children meet the minimum requirements. Call a punch.
Good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, Nicole.
I'm so elated. 2 of my grandchildren went to do CPA. And Mr. Pierre, I don't know if you continue in my voice, but I'm a vision impaired grandmother.
Yeah.
And I'm always encouraging my grandchildren and by extension a few other children that normally comes here with them. Always have books for them to read. Before standards say they have books that they're giving away, my bigger children go to collect books so that they could read and watch. Mr. Pierre, I don't only tell them to sit down and read, I'm sitting with them, helping them with the words to spell and all these things and them. I do try with my grandchildren. So I want to say congratulations to Mariella Noriga and Malaika Noriga for doing so well in their exam. May God reach His blessing and a saying by the extension of their friends too. God's blessing on all of them. And going forward, I don't tell them yesterday afternoon as they came home that we have to hit the ground running now with the schoolwork. no game playing and all this sort of thing. I ain't saying they cannot play. But however, they have to be interested in the book in going forward and the nation by extension. May God's richest blessing on all of them that was successful. And thank you very much, Mr. Pierre, and you have a blessed day.
Thank you, Color. And we want all parents to remember Helen Keller, Helen Adams Keller. Tell your children to Google her. Helen Keller. Disability is not inability. Disability is not inability. So I'm encouraging all listeners, many of you might know, Google Helen Keller. If you all like me, ask the little children in school. Government provide tablets, and you 7-year and 8-year-old know how to Google. Disability is not inability. We have a call on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, ma'am.
And not forgetting the listening public. First and foremost, in all my years living, that is the most feeds and lies I ever hear in political campaign speech. And the most English language used very fluently. Like some of them think the idiot Oxford and the Webster and also the Thesaurus Dictionary. So they can fool Grenadians again to deceive them like they did in 2008 with a victimization against the poor persons. Persons they suspect to be supporters of the ruling administration. But it is my belief that after the 23rd, the NDC will almost diminish and vanish just as the MBPM party did. It is quite unbelievable to hear the amateur leaders say that the police station have plastic on top of them. They have it and then so they have it in bag. Let me remind them, lies cannot enchant the soldiers of the NNP to captivate them to vote, to get vote. That will be quite impossible with tales of lie that is implemented with a non-score and toxins about the administration to get votes on the 23rd. Whistleblowers attack, suppress and debunk and did not work during the past election. That will only contribute to a no-leaf defeat again on the 23rd. Thank you very much. And NNP, you know what to do on the 23rd. Vote wisely. Inside the house to put the X. Thank you, Sir Pierre.
Yes, my caller, thank you. While we congratulate our children that go to school, that go in secondary school, we must not abandon them. And fathers, try your best to help your children. It is difficult, particularly in instances where the mother alone keeps the children. Even if the mother costs you a bad talk, you ignore that. And remember, a child is a gift from God and they need support. And we must determine what we mean by a good education. My interpretation of a good education is my child must leave school with at least the minimum requirements. Your child must be multi-skilled, multi-talented, flexible, and endowed with the characteristics that gives them the competitive edge on the job market. Today in Grenada, we have too much children leaving school without these talents. So it's difficult for them to find a job, although you have a lot of jobs on the market. They don't have the skills and talents. The same thing going on in Africa. The economy is improving in certain countries, but Europeans have to go and get middle managers' jobs. If our children leave school better educated, they will able to enter university. They will able to enter jobs, animation. They will able to be better able to be trained. So the real culprit in Grenada is our low productivity in school. Two groups of people responsible: the parents and the educators. That could be changed overnight. Make certain that the children that go to school now, that's where we have to change it. The children that enter school now, 5 years from now, they must exit school with a minimum requirement. Nothing must stop them. Don't waste time letting nobody tell you that your child is not academically inclined. That is another word for don't. Anybody that have enough gumption to tell you that must give you a certificate. Yes, caller, punch. Caller, your radio a little too loud. You got to turn down your radio, caller. We hear in the... Caller, you have to turn down your radio, otherwise we're getting the feedback, and it's a delayed feedback, and you listen to your radio. Now we have some words that we're using, because Grenada have a whole set of bright people walking around with a briefcase of certificate, and they lack the ability to practicalize their certification. So they use big words. Academically inclined. What it means you don't. Let no one tell you that about your child. And if you have doubt, find out who is Helen Keller. Caller on the line. Caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome. All right. Find out who is Helen Keller. Our challenge here is the environmental impact. If your child is in your home, from the time the kid reached 5 years, or since the child entered to school, government have a program where they go and see children 6 months to 2.5 years. From that age, you stimulate the child thinking. Once you do a good job, your child must do well in school. Once you do a good job there, between 0 to 12 years, your child must do. You hear I say 0. We have a call on the line now. Caller, welcome.
Thank you very much again.
Yes, my brother.
I don't really get a chance to listen to you much, eh? But anyhow, for the few days I just like to enjoy it and hear something. The truth about it is, let me tell you, I heard somebody talking about manifesto that was released by both parties, and it was released so late. But in my opinion, if I'm not mistaken, this morning, Pierre and NMP released their manifesto. I mean, what could be more late than that? I don't get a chance to see it yet. I don't have a download, whatever system to go on it, so I have to wait on a hard copy and whatnot. So
did you get
what could be more deceitful than that? That's how I see it. On the other hand, hear me, I listened to the man speak this morning. He used 2, 3 words, but I can't remember one. But one word he used is the vulnerable, and he used that he stressed on vulnerable. Well, I am in a vulnerable position, but if I tell you what happened, an officer from the seed program send a stinging message to me, send a message to me to tell me, don't call Shinem, stop calling Shinem to people, whatnot, etc. All because why? 1 or 2 people come and look for me in my disabled condition. And when I explain to them, they ask me if I get in any help through the government, through the seed program, through the Council for the Disabled and the whatnot, etc. When I tell them no, they say, all right, they'll go and talk to this person because they know who handling the situation in my constituency rally. Right? And because 1 or 2 people go and talk to Shannon, or tell her, well, all right, you know, the man really need it and blah, 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 whatnot. Oh, that is over 2 years now. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't get no help, no assistance. And not only 2 years, you know. I say, July 11th, 1981, I was detained. And as I hear you say rightly just now, it was an illegal, unlawful, unconstitutional operation. So,
Caller, you got cut off. You cut off so you could, and we almost on the point. You might have to call me back tomorrow. We did not cut you off, but you got cut off because you were saying something interesting. So we're just going to round up here because we all about time here. Brothers and sisters, a child is a gift from God. We are not doing enough to help our children. And I'm not blaming government. Because, and I'll tell you why, our education system is better today than any other time in our history. Nobody cannot claim that they don't get bus to go to school. Electricity, telephone, water, internet, all these things in place. The Ministry of Education and Social Affairs said there is no child in Grenada that cannot go to school because they don't have the basic requirement. They challenge me, and I constantly challenge the public over the last 7 years to call me and tell me one. Because they say if you find one, we're going to find them. So our children must do well in school. People are saying they're not academically inclined. That is another word for dunce. Anybody who tells you that, let them put their signature to the paper and give you a certificate. Our children could do much better. As we congratulate the children who do CPEA and going to secondary school, in the next 5 years, let us find out what happened to these children. What percentage of these children meet the minimum requirement? Because today, 70% of our children are unable to meet the minimum requirements. And I am blaming two groups of people for that. The parents and the educators. And we're back with you tomorrow between 12 and 1 for another opportunity to punch.
The future